Young man, I wish to speak to you today about pornography.
Every day I see men who wish they hadn't slipped off the edge and made their wives cry.
This was not a good thing to be doing, but like addiction happens, it just little by little, and I couldn't stop.
I was attacked by Satan from the cradle, and I never got a chance to experience mortality without this cloud over me.
I was so far gone that I had no idea whether it was the spirit or the adversary.
It's just a preconception that Satan has placed in us since coming into this world kind of as teenagers, that there's no way we could ever amount to anything.
Will you ever be rescued? Will you make it through your own survival story? The answer is yes.
This is a new weapon that Satan has been using.
Deception,
we're not talking
distraction,
about it.
discouragement.
I fight to watch men reaccess the power of God.
I am looking tonight.
It's not out there.
It's become far too normalized.
It's
for
normalized.
men, young and old.
I realize now that I am a warrior
who care enough about this battle between good and evil
against the adversary
to sign on and speak
if
up.
I turn my life around and be the person that they need.
We are at war. And for these next few minutes, I want to be a one-man recruiting station.
Hello. Welcome back to the Eternal Warrior podcast, helping young people in their quest for self-mastery, sharing stories from the battlefront in the war against Satan and pornography. Ooh, we've had some pretty great people to interview. But I think we have another great one coming up. We got Clayton. What's up?
Howdy.
Clayton has actually been on here before. Possibly twice. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, season 1, episode 7, and season 2, episode 15, struggling with mental health, which I find ironic because this is going to explain what misdiagnosis I was given back then.
Really? Dang. Now I'm more excited.
And we can talk about that because now I'm definitely on the right track and it makes a lot more sense.
Sweet. Yeah. We're excited to hear listen back to those episodes with Clayton in the past to get to know him. Yeah. First, let's get to know you. And hopefully we'll have another host joining us soon. Susan. Garrett had to drop out for a little bit. But we're happy to have Susan on the team, and hopefully we can hear from her some more. Clayton, let's get to know you.
Okay.
I know you from group so long ago. I don't know if you remember me. I think it was with Maurice in the first building when
you mean first building, are you meaning Shepherd Lane building?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's still on Shepherd Lane, but he moved from one apartment block to the other apartment block, like directly across from it.
So I'm in the original building, like past Smith's. So
yes.
My story starts like OG, but I'm not like trying to say I'm better than you. I'm just saying like I'm old. So I like when I came home from my mission in 2016, they had moved to the new complex and we were in the first. Yeah, we were in the first one.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. That one
I think it might have been Cody's group.
Cody? Oh. Yeah.
Cody Haas, yep.
Yeah.
Brother Haas.
Yeah, good old Cody Haas. Great clinician. Also part of Life Changing Services. Yeah. He used to sponsor this podcast, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Yeah. Do you want to dive in a little to how you started with Sons of Helaman?
Yeah, so I think, how old was I? So I was 17. I was just going into my senior year of high school. So that was what, 2012? Or, yeah, so 2013, April of 2013, I decided to enroll in Sons of Helaman after some failed attempts at going to the addiction recovery program by the church. Not that it's bad, I just didn't jive as much. At this time, I was not aware of my ADD tendencies. I was just running rampant, and I had a really strong desire to serve a mission, but I just couldn't do it on my own. So I figured outpatient or inpatient therapy at a therapy clinic. I didn't know it was a thing, and then ended up finding some link, I think. And then my mom, she's like, "Do you want to go?" Yeah, sure, that's fine. Showed up to group, and I was like, "Oh, these kids are normal." Like, I thought addicts were like
Right.
weirdos sitting in a basement.
That's
Yep.
that's so true, and that's so universal. That's
Yeah.
it always feels like
I
that.
think it's a stigma that I think even within the ADD community. I'll get into this later, but most addiction is most ADD is born from addiction. So overabuse in an addiction in an addictive environment can create the neural pathways of neuronal cell death, less amounts of dopamine pass through genetics, and then
Wow.
when it's already done and you have a child, if you have an addiction while you are creating said child, your genetic code that you do send on is going to be a damaged portion of those genetics. So
Holy crap.
let's say my family decided, hey, we're going to chew tobacco while we do farming. And then we're going to chew a lot and smoke a lot and decide that that's what we're going to do for life. Dr. Russell Barkley, he talks about how nicotine treats ADD. Problem is there's a caveat. It doesn't treat it. What it does is it fills the gap that it created in the beginning. So it's not treating, really. It's just
covering,
making it worse. Yeah. So there's a reason why. I mean, I'm getting distracted. I went to Sons of Helaman, long before I learned all of these things, and I just needed some help. Maurice was already creating the program, and I'd heard about a lot of success, and so I went to the program, lied my way through it the first time.
Yeah.
And then got in a car accident. That was a little spooky, but it was stimulating, so I could pay attention. And in that moment, I was like, wow, I could have died. My seatbelt wasn't the greatest. It was like an old autocross car, but it broke and I hit the windshield. So that was cool. Didn't go through it. So it was like enough of a, oomph to wake me up, but not to give me a major concussion or anything.
Wow.
I probably did have one, but I didn't really do anything for it. So
did the concussion fix you? Was that the answer the whole time?
No, it probably made my ADD worse. Like football growing up, there's two things that growing up I played tackle football, and I was known for being like the Ray Lewis on my team, the Brian Dawkins, whatever. I was an outside linebacker / defensive end during the last portion, but I was always a pass rusher. So
yeah,
I was always on the weak side or the left tackle. So I was either a right end whenever the quarterback was that, but if they had a left-handed quarterback, I was put on the other side. So you always want to be on the blind side.
Question: you did see Maurice? Like you went to his group?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to his group once or twice, but schedule conflict didn't work. So I
gotcha.
Had run into a video of his fifth Sunday lesson.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's a really good one. Yeah, that was like the OG welcome package. Like you could get a link to it. And then I think I was like, oh,
and
cool.
Yeah, you couldn't. It wasn't available to the public because it was a fifth Sunday. It was filmed in a sacrament meeting, so some people got it. It's not. You can't find it now.
Yeah, I think it was originally made for online assessment, and then when they revamped the opening credits of the whole Sons of Helaman like YouTube channel,
Right.
for life-changing services, they decided like, why don't we just swap the canvas to all of our old website stuff? And
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel honored that one of my testimonies is on there. I'm like,
Wow.
why did I put unknown for this? I know this is me. Like, I don't know why I asked for anonymous. So
Man.
it's like, oh, okay, cool.
So
I'm in there.
When you, I think anyone who knows Maurice knows he has a lot of ADHD, and he. Oh well, I guess you didn't see him that often, but I wondered if he had like any cool, like ADHD insights from Maurice, because he talks about it a lot in how he manages his company.
Right. His organization is based upon delegation for a lot of the like stuff that he can't do. So typical ADD traits of someone who like understands, it's like, I don't do well at this. I'm not even going to try and like use my meds to access a part of my brain that I'm going to have to struggle doing. So he has Linda do most of the back office work for intake, and he has other people for billing, and like he has to learn, now he has a whole legal team. Cool.
Well, dang. So, have you graduated now, or are you still kind of in the journey trying to figure out what's best?
Yeah, so I graduated early on. So after I went through and lied, had a car accident, decided to come back. I was then put into Cody's YSA group at 7:00 on Wednesdays. Yep. And then Alan, he was one of the cooler kids that was there. And I kind of just had my first therapy hyperfixation within ADD. So, I mean, I've had one with understanding ADHD, used my ADHD to understand ADHD. It was interesting, but it worked.
I love it.
But before that, I went through Like Dragons Did They Fight and just kind of poured through it. Like I started using techniques for golf. I used Tiger Woods as my back nine on Sunday. Tiger Woods is warrior chemistry personified. Like he always talks about Michael Jordan, but then later on he'd always talk about like warrior chemistry being really quiet. And I was like, well, golf's a little more quiet.
Yeah.
Unless it's Tiger, then his crowds are raucous, but that's okay. Like it was still same idea. So
yeah.
But that's what got me started, and I really got to understand. Like focus was easy in golf. I didn't have my phone with me when I was out on the course. I didn't have a smartphone for that matter. I had an iPod Touch, but I just kept it out. I tried listening to music while I was playing because I had friends that talked about it. But outside of that, it was like I was having a lot of what's called soft exposure, attention environment. So it's like easily meditative.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So
yeah. So you kind of found your sense of warrior chemistry by channeling it into golf.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, I was self-medicating with golf unknowingly, because for most of the day I was trying to like become more physically fit in an awkward way. I didn't, with ADD, it's like it's hard to find motivation. At the time, I didn't really care about my LGN, look good naked, so I didn't care about that. So I was just like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just alive, trying to be healthy, and I was lazy. I heard that a lot.
Yeah,
I'd go out and golf and kill two birds with one stone. So,
that's epic. I love making things efficient, and we'll have to. Okay, memo to me, make an episode about warrior chemistry, because we totally need to talk about that. I'll get that.
Episode 7 of season 1, the first one that I was in, I was the prequel to Maurice's episode on warrior chemistry. So
yeah,
if you guys want to link back to the original season, that one's good. Lane Hilton was also starred in that podcast. It was his birthday that day. That was a great episode. I loved his analogy of Margarito and Cotto.
Yes.
It's a boxing match that was taught about loaded gloves, why they're illegal.
That was huge.
And how Satan uses loaded gloves. I wish I might use that later on. So I'm just going to use it.
Okay.
It fits.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that episode. I must have listened to that at least 7 times now. Yeah. So how do you think, how does that tie into where you're at now? Like what's been your focus most recently now?
Right now my focus is, it's back to golf for a lot of it, but here's the thing. So when I was growing up, I always had a dream of obviously like having awareness for addiction and treating it, but I didn't know I was self-medicating with a ton of golf. People would just say, "Oh, you're just addicted to golf." And it's like, well, the honest, like, unfortunate thing to understand about ADD is that, like, you never really don't have an addiction going on in your life. It's either you become addicted to doing good things that support and sustain you, like Manpower, Savers for the Miracle Morning. That's the idea. Like, a lot of people are going to understand Savers a lot more than Manpower, but the same thing. It's just wired a little differently, and there's more service oriented in Manpower than there ever was in Savers. Savers is much more of a selfish mentality to build up others later on. It's the same idea with Manpower, but it's much more outward. It has to be. You have to get addicted to be helping others, supporting
what is Savers?
Seeing others happy.
Where does Savers come from?
So the Miracle Morning is the book that opened up the idea for getting an acronym for Border Patrol and Flagpole.
Oh, okay.
So Savers is actually like it enhanced it. So Hal Elrod wrote a book, has to be like 2011, 2012, and it hit really big, and then kind of died off. Well, in the die-off period, Outwitting the Devil, the Miracle Morning, and a couple others were kind of just like plopped out there, just at the same time that Life-Changing Services is just taking off.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like the Lord's like building the foundation of a work that wasn't going to stop, and it's not going to stop. It's going to get bigger, better. I think that more outreach for clinicians there are going to be huge. I would love to use this video as a impromptu ad for ADD. Like one thing that you're going to like a lot more with ADD focused coaching. I'm not going to be necessarily always going through the captain's log, like you would do in a addiction like therapy session. Like you'll have your pillars that I'll talk about in a little bit. So like your main pillars are going to be how are you medicating or not, or self-medicating.
So are you working
it's one or the other.
Are you working like independently or for Life-Changing Services? What's the job?
So I'm going to be an independent, but it's through their umbrella. So I'm not, I'm choosing to reduce liability by, I haven't been to school. I haven't been, graduated or anything like that. I was certified as an ADHD coach through PESI. It's an online school, paid $400 after tax, I think, for an online course that was supposed to take upwards of 40, 50 hours as far as just the study time. So I decided to go backwards throughout all the like Canvas material. I decided to go from test because you can take the test multiple times. I decided to take the test and figure out what I didn't know and then just go through the course that way. So typical ADD, I didn't have a lot of time. I already knew a ton. I'd read at least seven or eight of the novels that are widely known. Dr. Ned Hallowell has 3 books that I'd recommend: Driven to Distraction, Delivered from Distraction, and then ADHD 2.0. Those are the big ones. Dr. Barkley has 2, How to Manage ADHD, or How to Own Your ADHD. That's a huge one. Like, it's like, yeah, it's not going away. You have responsibilities. Like, either you're going to treat it and live a life of understanding time and picking on like where you're going to move in life, or you're going to be addicted and stay in the same spot and never go anywhere because you can't plan and organize your future. Period.
That's a huge thing that you said. Like, you're either addicted to doing good things or you're addicted to doing bad things. And I totally that was totally what Maurice was, how Maurice was kind of viewing each of his lessons. Like, just let the good things become what you do, your addiction. And he was doing that by remapping triggers. Like, when you, like, he talks a lot
it's
about,
not thought stopping. It's literally like behavior modification. It's a 504 program for ADD. People don't get that. Like, they do not understand. You can build in reward systems for your life.
It's remapping.
It's like, you don't grow up internally. Like, your brain still has the mature, like it'll always have a lag in maturity, but I can explain that later.
I love
it. It will always be addicted to doing
I love
good.
how he I love how he talks about setting it up like dominoes, like the different thoughts that come in and the different things in your environment. They're set up like dominoes if they go in a pattern, and you just redirect one domino to another line, and you build up what you want to happen. Like, say each of the dominoes are events, and you say, okay, when it gets to this domino, I actually want to do this, which will lead to this, which will lead to this, which will lead to this.
It's a physical action
that's been
linked to a
huge
thought that's an affirmation. So, like, that's the purpose of addiction, is to move you towards negative behavior that will. It's a bad stimmy. That's what I call it. So you have bad stim, good stim. Like, bad stim, good stim.
Good stim.
And you get to choose which stim you take. So it's like, I really don't like the idea that people get where they're like, well, I don't want to treat my disorder with medication. It's like, okay, cool, that's fine, but I don't know if you understand what you're saying. Like, you're always going to have it. Like, it's not going away. Like,
right.
You want to be doing push-ups in the middle of church when you have a flash? Like, it's like, well, yeah, I could. Like, do you want to be saying out loud affirmations because your brain literally can't think out loud internally? You have to be external with all of your thought patterns. Like, do you want that? It's like, you have to move outside of yourself. People just don't get it. That's my job.
It's quite, I remember that being, much of the teaching of Sons of Helaman when I was first there. And I feel like we've kind of moved to more internal, like, who am I? What is my core self? What's my purpose? And using that to bring us out of,
it's much more DPAR,
like the satanic spin.
Yep.
Much more following the prophet.
Explaining DPAR. Like, explaining DPAR. It's a loop for progress and learning that's taught within the youth program of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Discover, plan, act.
Discover, plan, act. reflect.
Reflect. Yeah. I added another one.
Yeah.
It's like repent. It's like the gospel cycle. Like faith is DPA. Faith is the DPA, and then R, the double R, is reflect and repent. It's like where can you improve? So that's the only difference that I would teach in my program. But.
That's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, how do you? So going on with this, I didn't write this down, but so what is it? What are your? You are working with people now, right?
So
how does
I have been working for free. I haven't set up scheduled appointments. I haven't set up I haven't finished my book. I haven't really published my program at all. I have been just literally giving my free time freely to support kids that I know. I go to a group of younger kids, and I'll reach out and get involved with the kids that have executive deficits, for sure. So we have one kid in our group chat that is majorly autistic. He's spectrum bound. He's there. He's autism. And I love him. He's so fun. And then the other two kids in our group chat, they're. So I have one, I'm not naming names, but anyway, he's a lot like me. He's a type 1 hyperactive, and then we have a type 3 in our group too. His family struggles a lot with, they love to argue, not conflict seeking, arguing. There's difference. They just have an automatic no for everything that's presented to them. So it's difficult. You have to do a lot of reverse psychology in their families. So.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you've been doing so far, is just reaching out to these.
Yep. That, a lot of them don't even know it's coaching.
Them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of just, so you're a minister who has an advanced knowledge in a particular area.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Maurice loved when I first started learning about ADHD, because I could finally explain in words that he couldn't use. Not that he wouldn't, he just couldn't dumb it down quick enough in the way that I was explaining it. So when I would explain it, the kids would always ask questions what's an executive function? What? Why is it higher level thinking? What the? So it's pretty funny that way.
Yeah. So I love to get into some Susan has appeared.
Hi, Susan.
Beautiful.
Massive tech issues, because I totally needed that on top of everything else. Glad to be here.
Well, I think you came just in time. I'm thinking I'd love to dive into how has your experience been with ADD?
So my experience with ADD is more of the internal hyperactivity of thought. And so also it's the hyperactivity of thought and the overwhelm of emotion, but not in the anger category. So for me, it's more like the overwhelm of depression, the overwhelm of numbness, where function is just
dysthymia. It's a big feeling.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with dysthymia, major depression, complex PTSD. All of that spectrum of things were in my diagnoses before the ADD was diagnosed, and my ADD became severe by the time I was experiencing the hormone fluctuations of midlife. So a lot of women are going undiagnosed or misdiagnosed until they have this massive flux of hormones at midlife. And suddenly find themselves going from high powered jobs to like, I can't function to get out of bed and do life. And then, you know, if they're lucky, the ADD is caught and they're treated. If they're not lucky, they're just treated for depression.
Or they're in a mortuary, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's what
That's
I'm
very
seeing in the
real.
support groups I'm in.
So.
Like, there are women daily posting that they're just ready to just give up on life entirely. It's really
so hard to be a mom as it is.
It's really hard
like, imagine
to see.
trying to plan for each of your kids when you can't plan for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I have a neighbor right over there who's drowning in that right now. So, yeah.
Get him on Adderall.
It's a very real thing.
Get him assessed.
It's a very painful, very real thing in this world. Yeah. So for me, like, I don't have Clayton's manic squirrel thing.
I mean, I definitely get, like, I'm on the same spectrum. I don't think guys feel comfortable talking about that depressive side. I mentioned it a little bit when I was talking about like my suicidal ideation and a lot of the things that I'd had led up to that point, but it was like, it was never going to be solved with an SSRI. Like it wasn't. Like an SSRI just made me happy, numb. It was like I was drunk. It does the same thing. Like absolutely the same thing. Your scope becomes so small that now you can't see into the future, but you don't really care because you don't feel anything. So for 2 weeks, you feel fine. You feel great. You're like, oh, great, awesome. And then after that 2 weeks, you experience a full hell of, I don't have a frontal lobe. I can't do life.
Or my situation of like, I really lucked out when I finally sought diagnosis officially. I mean, I had to really advocate for myself so much. And then when I finally sought diagnosis for myself, I went with a doctor that a friend who was also experiencing adult diagnosed ADHD as a female. She said, I saw this doctor. She took care of me. She helped me. I could talk to her. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll talk to her. I'll give it a shot.
That's super
So
important.
I go in there.
I
talk
that.
to her. She probably had it herself. Her nurse had it. Her other nurse had it. I mean, I really felt like I was in the right place. So I go in there. I open up to her and I'm like, I can't function at all. Like, I was a wreck and she could see it. And she was like, okay, let's try this. And I was not in the mood for any kind of medication. So she started me really low and we've been titrating over the course of the summer. It's helped. It's not the cure all. It helps me access things that can be helpful. And that's
right. Pills don't teach skills. But I can't stress that enough. It provides a space. So like the space that we were talking about, that me and Eli were talking about earlier, it's like, what's the difference between, spiritual human and animal? That space in ADD is it's really, really close. So the space betwixt you have a choice becomes really small. So it's like, impulsivity, everything is honed in. Adderall boosts that out. Ritalin boosts that time frame. Our disorder is time. There's a reason why we're always late. There's a reason why we can't start on time. There's a reason why I can't stop on time. It's because time is widened out and then collapsed immediately with the things that we self-medicate with, which creates a bigger problem. So if the stimulus isn't open enough, it just doesn't help. So
I still have difficulty sorting time. Obviously,
it doesn't go away.
Is time.
That's why phones. These are screens sucking the life out of every single one of us. Like the screen that whoever's watching this right now, get off after this. Stop. Like go.
That's helping me keep track of my life. I set timers. I live by timers and reminders and notes that remind me all by themselves. It's awesome. But the thing is, like, just organizing tasks in time is life. And so, like, executive function, the way I see it, is like, it is literally life. Everything that you do in life has to be organized in time and then adjusted as you go. And my brain just has such a hard time keeping track of all of that, even a little bit of that. Someone can be telling me something, and like, depending on where my brain is in that moment, I can lose track of what they just said. And then I'll say, hey, can you say that again? And they'll think I mean the entire paragraph they just said. And I'm like, no, dude, just literally the last sentence. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Because my brain just
my mom
hiccuped it
tells
right
me
at
that
that
all
point.
the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I'm not listening. My husband's like, you're not listening. You're not listening. I'm like, no, I am listening. I'm just not keeping track of it. It's going in.
Would it be
it's
better
just
if I
not
wrote it
staying there.
down as I'm listening to you? No. Like, do you want me to be, pen and paper or texting like out what you're talking about so that I can use an external source of like working memory? No, you don't want that. It's like, you need to talk faster. That's the problem. You need to be more loud. And they're like,
No,
what?
not me.
Like, yeah, it's just
Talking
it's
fast
not,
isn't helpful for me.
yeah.
I'm like the
It's
slow brain over here.
well, we can be both. That's the thing. I don't think the identification
Yeah.
like that right there is what makes coaching difficult, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not about identifying as like slow processing versus fast processing. I slowly process things that are auditory. I speed think
Yeah.
to catch up because I can't process what I hear. That it's a dynamic that people like, they try and I'm not using that as a cure-all. I'm not saying that as like, this is gospel. Every one of us has processing speed issues because the other speed is running, and it's hard to disseminate what our working memory can hold on to that's exciting within the speedy part that's in the background noise all the time. That's what the distraction is. So it might be external, it might be internal, but it's always trying to find something to slow that down. Always.
My distraction, I don't know what my distraction is. It's just hard to keep track of what's being said.
Right.
Sometimes. And like, I mean, yeah, sounds can be distracting, of course. But
yeah,
keeping track of thoughts and ideas and concepts and putting the ideas and concepts together to respond to someone,
you gotta write them down quick.
Yeah.
As soon as they come to you. I've been writing down action items this entire time in the Trello board.
You and your Trello board. It's like my Google Keep.
I know. Trello is amazing, man. It's like the 3x5 cards that Maurice was talking about, and then you never lose them because they're all there, and you can read them all because I didn't have to refine my handwriting.
Yeah, that is helpful. I have my Google Keep, and I tag everything, and I have color coordinated my notes and everything like that.
And it's accountable because I can add multiple people onto the board. And yeah, highly recommend Trello. Not sponsored.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Maybe someday.
So for me, like, it's that, and then it's the emotional overwhelm, like, just things hit and are so much to deal with, and then I think out loud, like talking with a friend, and I process emotions out loud talking with a friend, and that's how I'm basically manually sorting these things.
And
from my brain.
Does that get hard? Do you have to find the right people to do that?
Yeah,
with?
Not everyone has the tolerance.
Yeah, that's really hard. I feel like I went into that when I was doing Sons of Helaman. Like, Sons of the Helaman was the first time I felt comfortable just like opening up everything. And then I got high from that. I want to do that with everybody.
It feels so good to finally do it.
Yeah. Come to find out, nobody's comfortable diving into deep topics as like part of a hangout. So I learned a lot during my mission on how to have levels of conversation. And I usually let someone else open up to me first, and then I can supplement it with my deep intimate knowledge with trauma and things coming
Oh yeah.
and solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's
there you
another
go.
thing about trauma too. I learned that apparently your brain needs dopamine to process trauma.
Yeah. And
So my brain takes a long time to do that, which we didn't know.
connecting with people with trauma is hard, because I feel like I relate to people with trauma a lot, even though my trauma would be considered little t trauma.
That
Just
depends.
because I've had a fairly normal life with not a lot of things that people would classify as traumatic, but I feel the same amount of trauma as someone who did go through some terrible things. And I find it attractive in other people, because I think it increases their emotional intelligence when they're able to process that and have conversations about that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you yawn all over the place, Clayton. Should we let you go?
I would add too, before Clayton goes, because he might be interested in this bit, just that the neurodiversity we live with can at times be the very trauma we're dealing with. Because like when Clayton said, we go to fight or flight a lot, just coping, and I think, that really highlights that space of the neurodiversity we live with can be a big part of the trauma we're living with too. And then life experienced through that lens can be more traumatic.
Maybe you can do both of these, or one or the other. What are some of the major like harmful patterns you've seen when working with people, and what are some great strategies that you've developed to help get better control of your life?
Okay. I just came from it's called Mentally Strong. So it's MEN and then Tally Strong. It's a great company, charity organization that was created after her husband took his life. He was a big golfer, loved golf, did a lot of things. He was very affluent in the Ogden community.
Oh, wow.
They bought a house just like in a private community just off of Mount Ogden Drive, or Mount Ogden Golf Course. There's a private community that's just tucked back away. So it was like the community that was supposed to make Mount Ogden a country club, but it's just not. So, I mean, it's great, but that's not the point. So she created the organization because she felt so many people didn't have any resources or knowledge on understanding mental health. And so maybe it was tailored more for anxiety and depression. I actually want to set up a meeting with her and just kind of like pick her brain and be like, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And then by the time she catches on, like, okay, this kid knows a lot more than just being a groundskeeper at a golf course. Like, what the heck is this? So I would love to have that segue. See, it's like, it's no fun to just tell people, like, walk in and be like, yo, I know a lot. Like, now you just, like, it's like Maurice. It's like, okay, I'm going to give you a crumb. And then you're like, is there a cookie to this? Like, I really want to know what's going on. So, what does that mean? 2/3 of people that have ADD never get diagnosed in their life, or this used to be the norm. So 2/3 of people that could be diagnosed with ADD don't. And then 2/3 of that group, or around 65, 66%, it's climbing, are committing suicide. And it's not the attempt suicide, it's just done once and done. That's a very strong trait within the depression that's seen within the ADD community. It's not a I might die. It's like, no, like I'm done. And it's unfortunate, but it's very, very strong.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that all suicide is connected to ADD. You know, impulsivity can be in serotonergic deficit disorders. But if we're just talking mainly dopamine problems, it's a very strong, I can't do life, so therefore life no more do, and gone.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So that's part of why I do the work that I do. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, kind of back to the original question. Are there major,
right?
Like in the more practical sense, are there major patterns that are kind of common across people with ADD? And are there some good tactics that help with those?
Yeah. So what's taught in Sons of Heilman through what's called the satanic spin. So you start off with a flash, then you have unsatisfied feelings that go searching to your file cabinet, and then as soon as it zooms through there, you have an additional connection or stimulant in your mind that starts the reaction. So that in a neurotypical brain is that it happens with everybody, but with someone who has ADD, our brain is always on that search. So the link from frontal lobe activity to animal brain, it's not even pushing into your frontal lobe most of the time. There's only times in high aerobic activity, very high dopaminergic activity through drug taking, and typically found in high abuse of caffeine, cocaine, nicotine, a lot of things. So the good stim versus bad stim that I was telling you before, it's like you have to remove high stim that's bad, that's damaging your brain long enough for good stim to be able to make a prosthetic effect. And then if the prosthetic effect doesn't happen with just behavioral inhibition and stuff like that, you move from the supplement level all the way up to medicated. That's where you introduce Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, Vyvanse, a lot of those stimulants. So what does that have to do with anything? It's like, it's not just a pill. Pills don't teach skills. Everything that happens within the ADD brain happens within a neurotypical brain. It's not a different brain. I find that really interesting. It's not anything that's horrible or wrong or changing.
Yeah.
It's just a glitch.
I've really connected with that too. Like, and I would focus on my autism because I thought I understood ADD and ADHD pretty well. In my view, is just like, I don't know, increased hyperactivity, because they always focus on the hyperactivity part and not on the different mental things. And so I thought the main thing was this autism that I couldn't really define and couldn't really see. And it made me feel like I was inhuman. Like no one could really understand me because I couldn't experience life as a normal human being. But I've learned that it's not that I'm inhuman. It's that I am human times 10. And like
you're more animalistic. It's hard.
Yeah. Well,
but that's the basic
I don't know
truth.
about that.
We're more animalistic. We're more linked to the portion of our brain, unfortunately, that will lead to an animalistic behavior. Like it's fight, flight, freeze, feed, breed. We're kind of living there. So,
dang. Yeah, that's a big point too. That makes a lot of sense. But for me, it's like any emotion that is felt in a situation becomes like 10 times stronger. And yeah, so I realize now, just living normal life causes more trauma in me than it will for neurotypical people. And yeah, so I think that's and that's really interesting. You say we're more in animalistic behaviors, because that would explain kind of the abuse or the mistreatment that kids with ADHD are put through. Because, you know, if a neurotypical child is being rowdy, the parent just has to go, hey, stop that, you're being get in your frontal lobe. And usually it'll be easier for the neurotypical child to do that than the ADHD child to do that. And so it feels like when parents and leaders see that, it feels like they're intentionally disobeying. But that's not the case. It's more complicated than that.
Maurice is great at understanding the process of addiction. What's hard for people with ADD to understand is that, like, if you're in an addict brain for long enough, you have the same tendencies and looks and sounds and feels of someone with ADD. So it's like, if you don't remove the addiction, you can't know if you have ADD or not. So his job is to remove the addiction that he knows about before he can, lead anyone, like, let's say even to Cody or another psychiatrist that he knows of that might talk about, like, especially like child psychiatrists, they're the best to go to. Unless they're like adamant and like from the 1980s of when they went to school, because then they're like, oh, well, you didn't get diagnosed as a kid, so therefore you don't have it. Like, no, like, that's not how it works. So
yeah, it's not how it works.
I'm gonna make a hard call now and end the recording. Thank you so much for your comments and your time.
If you're listening to this podcast, you have probably found that you are in need of, you are strongly desiring, a level of self-mastery that you have not been able to achieve on your own. Or you are a loved one or a parent who knows someone who would like to achieve that level of self-mastery. It's not fun to be in that situation. Been there, done that. I've become a specialist in this area by spending 30 years initially searching for and harvesting eternal principles found in the world of psychology, science, and the words of the prophets, many of them found in the Book of Mormon, for my own sake first, and then I found that they're of great value to others. Instead of just hoarding these concepts, we put them into a book form that is easy for you to access. Like Dragons Did They Fight? You'll understand the reason why it's called that when you start reading it. But go to likedragonsfree.com, get your own free copy of it, download it, and then when you're ready to talk over your circumstances and make a battle plan, call 877-HERO-877, in other words 877-4376. Talk to our headquarters people, and if necessary, they'll arrange for you to have a consultation with me. I am sad that you're going through this, but I've watched thousands and thousands of young warriors gain the confidence and strength they need to be able to have the lives they want now and the futures they desire to have. We will see you soon.